Elijah is a passionate musician and songwriter who began professionally recording faith based music inspired by classic artists and film scores, and has gained a growing online following since starting his YouTube journey in 2012. And Elijah is with us here. How are you today?
I'm feeling really good. How are you?
I'm excellent, thank you. Now,
Good.
you've got a new single that you've just released called Promises. So, can you tell us a little bit about that song?
Yeah, so Promises is a very special song. And first I want to say thank you for having me on here.
Oh, yes.
It's a special song because writing music is something that I've always done since I was young, starting off from doing poetry. And I w was in a very difficult, strenuous time in my life last year, and I just was listening to like a beautiful instrumental
Mm.
of a Asian style ballad music that I typically enjoy, and the words just started coming to me, and I thought to myself, this is a good song to let people know that when people fail you or when you disappoint yourself and things always seem to just go wrong for you, God will always keep his promises. And I've seen that even in my personal life, especially in the last few years. So I just thought that this was a good catalyst song to really pursue my dream of doing music professionally. So that's how that song came to fruition.
Yeah. And what do you hope the listener will take away from that song?
I hope most of all that people will listen to it and understand that when nobody else is there for you, God is. You know, sometimes,
Yeah.
especially people that are within the faith or believers, it feels very lonely. You know, this is something that
Mm.
people don't often talk about because they don't want to seem like they're being vulnerable and things, but it's a real life experience that a lot of people can relate to. And people have come up to me and let me know that it's really been helping them because they understand and they know what it's like to be put aside, you know, to be the last one chosen and to be the last considered. And it really, in a world where everybody is being so otherized and everybody's trying to be popular and famous, you can feel very small. But when you
Yeah.
remember that, you know, you do have a father that sees you and you're important to him, that really makes you go like, okay, you know what? Nobody else may be there for me, but God will keep his word in my life. So I hope that they
Yeah.
remember that.
And this song, Promises, is due to be part of an overall album, isn't it? So,
It is.
what can we expect from that album?
So I'm super humbled and excited because this album, I'm a man of diversity. I grew up in church, so I am very influenced, like you mentioned, by a variety of styles. So
Yeah.
this is a very monumental album. I'm very particular because I want each track to resonate with someone. So there's music that's very cultural. I grew up in a Caribbean background and I'm part Hispanic, but I also loved a lot of string orchestra music and classical singers and listened to a little bit of opera. So
Mm.
expect a lot of diversity and good lyrics because music has really taken on a trendy style now instead of a more timeless classic feeling, you know? And I want my music to feel like it can go on throughout the years and throughout the time that, you know, people can grab a mic and do karaoke to my music. And, you know, people that really can't sing feel like they can sing because they can sing my song, you know? So
Yeah.
just kind of things like that. I'm hoping that people will be able to at least hold one or two songs real close to their and pass it down in the generations, you know?
Absolutely. Now, if we go right back to the very beginning, before you were
Mhm.
even making music professionally, you've been
Yeah.
musically involved, shall we
Mhm.
say, since the age of two.
Mhm.
I mean, how did you get into it, and what kind of music were you doing when you were
Mhm.
age two? Because I can't imagine it would be too complex.
Right. Yeah, I remember this takes me back. My mom, I always give her credit because she was the one that really sparked that love for me.
Yeah.
When you're very young, you go through a lot of troubles or you go through a lot of experiences, you have something oftentimes that brings you comfort and then you start developing that, you know. And my mom would tell me stories about when I was very a toddler. I don't
Mm.
know if it was like a song that I heard or something, you know, because when you pick up things as you hear as a kid. And I remember she said, I would sing, I'm a survivor. Thank you, Jesus. I'm a survivor. Thank you. And I
Yeah.
was a very little toddler.
Yes.
And so it was something like, it was so strange because it was from there that I remember asking my mom as like an elementary kid, like I want vocal lessons, and I always wanted a microphone as a kid, and everything just musical. I would play the radio all the time. I'm a little not too old, but I had a cassette player. I'll always be having a Walkman in my ears, going to bed listening to music. So my mom really fostered that gift in me, and she always did whatever it took to encourage me to pursue it to the best of my ability. So yeah, those are my earliest memories of it. Always wanting to sing and very, very shy. So I only did that at home. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was those small moments and hearing my mom come down the street singing, and so it was different things like that that sparked that.
Yeah, and growing
Mhm.
up in church as well,
Yes.
specifically, I suppose has influenced you to record faith-based music. So, were
Mhm.
you ever involved in like the choir or some things like that in the church, or was it just being in that environment itself that inspired you, maybe lyrically?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Absolutely. Yeah. I grew up, I went to quite a few bit of churches growing up. So I always was looking for the choir to join, because singing, and my sister and I often would sing on choir together. She would be on the sopranos and I'll be on the
Mm,
tenor section. And I've been on small choirs and very large choirs. And yeah, that was something that I always tried to get myself involved in because
yeah,
in my home, it wasn't like I came from a long line of family of musicians and singers. So it was really just my mom and I that really had a passion for it. So anytime I could involve myself in something, especially that's not a paid service that I have to pay for,
yes,
I tried to get myself involved and really kind of shadow people. And I was under really, really intense like no nonsense directors that taught me and instilled in me like the importance of doing it right and paying attention and knowing your part. So it was things like that that I made sure I was involved in to really develop my interest, develop my knowledge, and develop my experience.
yeah. Now, you mentioned that you had quite a lot of shyness when you
Yeah.
first started out, and that's something that you've worked hard to break out of. So,
Mhm.
I mean, how did your shyness affect you in music?
It affected me greatly because being so afraid to sing in front of people, it let me look at myself like what's the root cause of that?
Mm,
And I was wondering, is it because I'm scared people what people will think of me, or is it just because it's something new? You have to work your way into it. And there was other things I was very insecure about as a child. So there are things often that you can be insecure about that people are looking at you and wondering why would you be insecure about that. So it was kind of like a self-sabotage thing. And
yeah,
I realized that if I don't give myself an opportunity to break out of that, nobody else is going to facilitate that. I didn't really have anybody, behind me saying, do this, or here's an opportunity, or I'm gonna work with you, or I'm gonna help you work through this, or I'm gonna help develop you. I just didn't have the luxury of that. And so I had to take the initiative and say, I love what I do. I have potential. I may not be the best singer in the world, but whenever I have an opportunity, don't back down. I remember one of the only opportunities I don't think I've ever really sang lead on a song in choir because I never
mm,
just had the chance, but one opportunity came to me to sing a song. And I was just like, oh no, 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 I can't do it. And so years later, I look back, I'm like, I wish I had gave myself the opportunity to try because, I just never was given much opportunity, period. So I think that's how it affected me is a lot of times when I had the chance to take that step to build the brick on brick to build my confidence, I could have taken advantage of it. And shyness will really hold you back and delay your development. So yeah.
absolutely. And I suppose it's something that a lot of people can relate to, maybe not to the same extent, but
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, when you sing as opposed to talking, it
Mm-hmm.
feels like it's an embarrassing thing to do in front of somebody.
Yes.
And I don't really know why, because if you think about it logically, it isn't embarrassing at all. I guess a lot of people just maybe don't have the confidence.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. And that's oftentimes too, it's like it's you have to really surround yourself with people that aren't going to be lying to you, about where you are, but they're also
Yeah,
have tact. There are some
yeah,
people that I talked about it on my Instagram recently about how some people don't really have tact. So when you sing or you share something with them, they're just like, well, you could do this better, you could do that better, instead of just leading with or seeing what you need from them. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like giving me criticism, maybe I just need like a soft assessment saying like, wow, like I'm proud of you for doing that. And then if I ask you for feedback, you give it to me. So sometimes people's harsh reaction can beat you down to the point where you like you build up so much shame and embarrassment, and then you have to work your way out of that. So it's I know people personally that go through that. So yeah, that's why I've learned surrounding myself with the right people is very important to make sure I protect my emotions and protect my development in that area for sure. So you're right.
Absolutely. And for aspiring musicians who are just starting out, who maybe are in a similar situation to what you were, where they maybe don't have the confidence or they're shy, what advice would you give to them?
I would say try. You know,
Mm.
that's one thing I always say to anybody that you have to give yourself an opportunity and understand why you want to do it. You know, if you have a really, really good reason, for example, if you want to share your gift because you want to be an inspiration or you want to help or give a good message to somebody with your gift, that's a really wholesome reason.
Mm.
If you just want attention and you just want people to praise you, then you probably are not going to make the development that you think you need to make. And so, if you have a really wholesome reason for why you want to try, it doesn't have to be much. You don't have to jump into a studio and you don't have to put all the pressure on yourself. But also ask yourself, what kind of legacy do I want to live? And how much time do I have before I'm able to not use my gift? Because I mentioned to someone recently, we take for granted the things that we have until we don't have it.
Yeah.
And the same God that gave you the gift he gave you can take it away, you know? So it's not like you are promised to be able to open your mouth and speak. Some people lose their speech in life because of things that go on. So, or they can't use their hands. And so when you value the time you have on earth and the life that you live, you say, you know what, I don't have time to waste. So I'm going to at least try something and make a first step.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, obviously, you've got this album coming out soon.
Mhm.
After that, are there any more projects that you're either working on or thinking
Yeah.
about working on?
Absolutely. So, so this project is an ongoing thing, but I do want to do more. I want to do more singles afterward because albums take a lot of work.
Yes.
A lot. It's I knew it took a lot of work, but when I started it, I was like, oh, I thought I was gonna do just 6 songs, and I'm gonna do 10. Now I want to do 12. So
Yeah.
you know, and I'm like, well, I thought I wanted to do MIDI, but now I want to do live instruments. So it's like, okay. So I'm gonna be working on that for a long time, and I'm gonna try to do some live gigs as well, just here and there to really break. Because that's one thing that challenges to me the most is singing live. It's very hard, but I'm
Mm.
working on that. And so I do want to do more singles and more collaborations with my friends, and do something. I do want to do a live recording in the future. That's really something that I want to do. So some things in the works, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, in the meantime, this song is, of course, called Promises, and the album's on the way soon. So, where are we able to find the song and, of course, the album?
Yeah, so you'll be able to find Promises. It's live. It's been on all the streaming platforms. It's on my YouTube channel at Elijah Music. You'll be able to listen to it where you listen to music pretty much on Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora. You can even go to Amazon Music, YouTube Music. Just yeah, any of the major platforms as well. You can pretty much find the music, and the album will be on those same platforms as well when it comes out.
Brilliant. Well, many thanks for joining us today. It's been great to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.